Warm welcome to all our viewers. Today we will be discussing the chapter The Human Eye and the Colorful World. Recently we concluded the chapter Light for our students. That was the first chapter in physics for class 10 CBSE. Today we will be starting the second chapter in physics for class 10 CBSE students. The chapter name is The Human Eye and the Colorful World. So let us start the chapter. First of all, the human eye has been compared with that of a camera. So we all have eye, we see from eye. So we will study the different parts of the human eye. Like, first of all, we need to understand how a human eye can be compared with that of a camera. See, in camera, we have a film. Film is the place where the image is formed. Okay. Same way, retina. Film can be compared to retina. Retina is a place in the human eye where the image is formed. Okay, same way we have a diaphragm in the camera, same way we have an iris in the eye. An aperture is the size of the camera, the image that can be taken. Pupil is the size of the eye. Lens of camera, lens of human eye. Black point and the choroid. A similarity has been tried to be established between the human eye and the camera. Now let us first understand what an eyeball is. The eyeball is nearly spherical with a diameter of 2.3 centimeter. Eyeball is spherical with a diameter of 2.3 centimeter. Eye is like a camera, we understood. It has the following main parts. So what are the main parts of the human eye? First of all, it has a cornea, it has an iris, it has lens, and it has retina. Retina, as I said, is the place where the image is formed. Lens is the lens of the human eye, obviously the lens that we have. And the thing is, the human eye is convex lens. The human eye has a convex lens, like it converges the ray of light passing through it into the retina. We have the iris and the cornea. One by one, we will try to understand the different parts of human eye and their function. We have ciliary muscles. See, ciliary muscles has been labeled here. This eye diagram is important because sometimes in board exam, they give the diagram and they will just place some arrows and they will ask you to name the part. How will students know which part is what? They need to memorize this diagram. They need to memorize the labeling so that even if a labeling is asked in the exam, they should be able to label. This is the retina, this is the optic nerve, this is the vitreous humor, this is the cornea, this is the iris, okay, this part. Pupil, the size of the eyeball, sort of, okay, the black one, the pupil. Aqueous humor, okay. Crystalline lens, this is the lens, okay. What does the ciliary muscles do? Ciliary muscles will hold the lens. They will either contract or relax, okay. So let us move ahead and start to understand everything. First of all, we have a cornea. Cornea is a thin, transparent, bulged membrane on the front of eyeball. See, this is a thin, transparent, bulged membrane of the front of eyeball. Then we have a pupil. Light enters the eye through the cornea. Light will enter the eye through the cornea. Most of the refraction for light rays occurs at the outer surface of the cornea. Then we have iris. Iris is a dark muscular diaphragm behind the cornea. It's just behind the cornea. It is just behind the cornea. It controls the size of the pupil. So what is the function of iris? Iris is controlling the size of the pupil. Okay, so pupil is the black pigment that we have. Okay, so that is the pupil. Okay, and this iris. So iris is controlling the size of the pupil. Okay. Pupil is the aperture to regulate the amount of light entering the eye. Pupil is the aperture to regulate the amount of light entering the eye. Okay, done. Now let us go ahead. Lens. What is the lens? Lens is this. This is cornea. This is lens. This is retina. Lens is composed of a fibrous jelly-like material. It is a fibrous jelly-like material. It forms an inverted real image of the object on the retina. It can adjust the focal length to focus objects at different distances on the retina. What is the retina? Retina is the most important part of the human eye. It is a delicate membrane with many light sensitive cells. They get activated upon illumination and generate electrical signals or impulses. Brain signals are sent to the brain via the optic nerves. Brain interprets the signals to perceive objects. Let us move ahead. So, like what happens when we enter from a bright room to a dim light room? We cannot see objects clearly for some time. Then it becomes clear. So, because our eyes are still adjusting to that light. In bright light, iris. Okay, so when we are in bright light, the iris will relaxes. So the iris contracts the pupil. So pupils will be really relaxed. Okay, bright light, sufficient light is there. I can see everything properly. So that less light enters the eye. I can still see the objects. In dim light, iris reflexes to expand the pupil. Pupil will be expanded. Why? Because we want to see things in the dim light. So that the iris needs to adjust the size of the pupil. That's what is the function of iris. It adjusts the size of the pupil according to the situation. So iris will contract in dim light. So what will happen? The pupil size will increase so that we can see in dim light. Iris relaxes to expand the pupil so that more light enters. See, this is the example. You are in a bright light setup, then you go in a dim light setup. Your eyes are like in this form. They are in a little bit of, relaxed form in a bright light, and then they are contracted and the pupil becomes bigger so that more light can enter and we can see the objects clearly even in dim light. Now let's move forward, and this is an important concept, power of accommodation. In board exam they ask define power of accommodation. Definition is asked for 1 mark. Define power of accommodation. What will the students write? It is the ability. What is power of accommodation? It is the ability of the eye lens to adjust its focal length by changing its curvature. So power of accommodation can be defined as the ability of the eye lens to adjust its focal length by changing its curvature. So when ciliary muscles relax, lens becomes thin and its focal length increases. It enables distinct vision. When ciliary muscles contract, curvature of the lens increases, so lens becomes thicker, so its focal length decreases. This enables nearby vision. However, focal length of the lens cannot be decreased beyond a minimum limit. That's why we cannot clearly read or see an image held very close to eyes. Okay, so for eye we have a far point, that is infinity, and we have a near point, that is approximately 25 centimeters. So if you bring a piece of paper, write something on it, try to bring it very close to your eyes. So till 25 centimeter you will be able to read it, but if you try to bring it more closer, you will have difficulty in being able to read it. So let's move forward. So that's what it is saying. It is the minimum. What is the distance of distinct vision, or the near point of eye? If somebody asks, what is the near point of the eye? The near point of the eye is the minimum distance at which objects can be seen most distinctively without strain. It is 25 centimeters. So what is the far point of the eye? It is the farthest point up to which I can see objects clearly. It is infinity. A normal eye can clearly see objects between 25 centimeter and infinity. The lens of some people at old age, when people become old, so lens of some people at old age will become milky and cloudy, causing partial or complete loss of vision. This is called cataract. So this happens to people mostly in old age, 50s, 60s in the world. What will happen? Some people when they grow old, most people when they grow old, their lens will start to become milky and cloudy, causing some sort of partial loss of vision. So this is called cataract. Okay, so it can be rectified by a cataract surgery. Surgery is done, and due to which it can be resolved. Okay, this is clouded lens. So normal lens. So what happens in cataract? What the doctor does, he takes out the lens and different lenses placed. It's a surgery. I think miniature. It's a long process, but it is done in all major hospitals. The lens is replaced, and the cataract surgery is successfully done. So okay. This happens usually in the old age. Now let us move ahead. And advantages of vision with two eyes. What is the advantage? When we have two eyes, it gives a wider field of view. Horizontal field of view is 150 with one eye, so 180 with two eyes. Enhances the ability to detect faint objects. Some animals have eyes on opposite sides of head to give widest possible field of view. Human eye are located on front of head. It reduces field of view in favor of strep voices. Okay, why eyes are located at some distance, so each eye slightly sees different image. Brain combines these image into one, so we can understand whether the object is near or far. Now, another important concept is there, the defects of vision and their correction. 100%, 100%, this is asked in exam in one form or the other. What are the defects of vision and what are their corrections? So defects of vision are caused due to gradual loss of power of accommodation. Entire game is based on power of accommodation. The ciliary muscles, they are controlling the focal length of the eyes. Like when you want to look for how it should be, how we should be reducing or increasing according to the distance, according to the situation. So everything, the entire game is based on the power of accommodation. If that is fine, entire vision is fine. If that starts to, lose itself gradually, ciliary muscles becoming loose or something, we will get issues. So there are basically three types of defects in vision. Number one is myopia. Important. Myopia is the number one. Number two is hypermetropia. Number three is presbyopia. So this is the normal vision of a human eye. Very easily you can see the near object. Very easily you can see the far object. A myopic person can see the nearby object. For far by object he will have difficulty. Another example I can give is a student sitting in the last seat of the classroom having myopic problem will not be able to see the blackboard. That is one example. Now, hypermetropia. If a person has hypermetropia, he will not be able to see the nearby object, but he can see the far by object. Okay. So these two are the defects of a human eye. I have explained in brief. Let us see what are their correction. One by one we'll try to understand. First we'll go for myopia. A person can see nearby objects clearly but cannot see distant object distinctively. So that happens for a myopic person. A myopic person has the far point nearer than infinity. Your far point for a healthy person should be at infinity, but for a myopic person, far point is before infinity. See, the layers of light are coming and they are converging due to one convex lens, but the image is formed in front of retina. As a result, you cannot see the distant object clearly. This is caused due to the formation of image of a distant object in front of the retina. What is the correction of correction of myopia? Let us try to understand the reason. Sometimes in exam they will ask, list the reasons for myopia. What are the reasons for myopia? There are two reasons basically for myopia. Number one, excessive curvature of the lens. The lens are excessively curved, and the elongation of the eyeball. Both the reasons are excessive curvature of lens and elongation of the eyeball. Correction is use a concave lens of suitable power. It brings the image back onto the retina. Okay, so human eye is convex by nature. It converges the ray of light. So it has converged, but the image is formed in front of retina. Now, what is the correction? Use a concave lens. Correction is asked in exam. What is myopia? What are its causes or reasons, and what is the correction? So define myopia, give the reasons, give the correction, draw the ray diagrams, take full marks home. Okay, so myopia is image forming here, and what is the correction? I put a concave lens. Concave lens will diverge the ray of light farther, then the eye will converge it, the image will be formed correctly at the retina. I'll explain again. Correction for myopia, ray of light is coming from infinity, it strikes the concave lens which is used for suitable power as a correction, that will diverge the ray of light. Divergence happens. Again, human eye is convex lens by nature. That ray of light is diverged, it converges it into the human eye, image is formed at the retina. So I hope the concept is understood by students. What is important to understand is define myopia, give what are the reason of myopia, give the correction, draw the ray diagrams for the far point of myopia, what a myopic eye is having, what is the issue explained, also give the correction and the ray diagram of myopia. It is simple. Okay, so this question we can expect in exam. So the part one of the human eye and the colorful world, let us keep it till this point. In next part we will discuss the other two defects of human eye like hypermetropia, presbyopia, their causes and how to rectify them. So thanks a lot everyone for attending this session today along with me. Thanks a lot.